Welcome to the 5 must-dos to create your $1 million offer.
That's right. And don't get us wrong. This offer, this is the first offer that you should be thinking about building when you're getting started, or if you've been in the industry and you don't have your $1 million offer yet, this is what you need to be thinking about building right now.
Yeah, this is like the no fluff, like where the rubber meets the road. What are the 5 must-do things? You can also think of it as like the mistakes to avoid out there,
Yeah.
so that you can go out there and start getting that $1 million offer in the game. Because you got to get the offer out, get it proofed, verified, getting it making money, and then march it on up to that $1 million mark.
That's right.
Let's talk about must-do number 1. The must-do is to target the right niche. Now, what do we mean by that? Let's talk first about like who is the right avatar. If you're going to go out there and be like, I'm going to go out and build $1 million offer and I want to get my business going quickly, you got to really be thinking about who do I want to go target out there, and we call them the 4% and the 20%. And this is the 4%. These are the movers, the shakers, the ambitious people, the action takers, the implementers and executors. Because there's a lot of posers, pretenders, and not anything near players out there. These are the players with the money. Out there, you got a lot of people that pretend I want something, but then I don't really ever want to hit buy or do anything or take the action, or I bought it, but I never do nothing. Those people will erode your business, your sanity, your joy. That if you're going to go out there and build $1 million business, hell, target the people that are going to bring passion, bring energy, get to work, do the work, because then they're also going to do your program, which means they get the results, which means you start to build the social proof, the testimonials, and you make your difference. Your first offer needs to be around those people. You'll naturally pick up the other 20% that are like, I got ambition, I've got drive, I sometimes need a little bit more cajoling and going for it, but not the 80%, not the, well, I would say 76% out there that are just gonna suck the life out of you. They'll nickel and dime you, they'll penny pinch you, they're the refunders, they're those kind of people. Do everything you can to build an offer that's not geared towards them.
Amen, brother. I mean, I worked in the fitness industry for the very beginning of my whole career, and I remember just building a YouTube channel full of free content that everybody had access to. The minute I went into building a brand that had offers that were low ticket, membership, very trickling in those sales, people didn't even want to buy, because they were trained to get everything for free. So my whole audience of 4 million subscribers at the time literally wouldn't pay $8.99 for a membership for paid content. So remember, like, you know, if you're building a platform right now and you're so excited about the growing numbers and all of that, that's cool. But what's even cooler is building an audience of people that want to take action. They want the result, and they want it so bad they can taste it, and they're willing to invest in themselves to get it. They're not just freeloaders out there. They're just like waiting for the free thing to come out, and they're not going to ever spend $1 to get the results they really want. That's what we're talking about here, is not building the audience for numbers, for quantity. We're saying build an audience for quality, people that really truly want change, and you know you can make that difference for them.
That's right. Other thing to just consider, and this is a large topic, so I'm going to keep it super simple, is are you getting into a growing market?
Yeah.
So here's the example. If you were like, I'm going to go launch an offer around how to create newspapers, I'd be like, that's a shit-ass market, because newspapers are dying and gone. You got to just be like, am I getting into a market where there is upswing, there is growth in it? Otherwise, you're just going to be like, it's going to be tough for me to command what I want in the market with my offer, or to get the numbers that I need in my offer to make it a viable business. So make sure that when you're out there targeting the niche that you're getting into, that you're like, there is a market for it, which means just doing a little bit of R&D, going online, seeing what's out, getting your ears and eyes on the ground, well, your ears on the ground, your eyes on the world type thing, and just seeing what's freaking happening out there. Obviously, like an example of a growing market right now is anything to do with the NFT market. You're like, that is a freaking market that is blowing up right now, and it's the future of where the world is going. So there's many people moving there to try to be advanced players in that, so that they can capture the best part of that market as an early adopter. Where is that right for you?
That's right. Think about your industry and where that industry is moving, right? Like where are the trends going and whatever it is that you're an expert in. That's what you want to start thinking about.
That's it. Once you got the avatar clear and the market clear, you have to create your what we call the MVP3 offer.
Woo, Vito came up with this bad boy.
That's right, I'm good with acronyms
On
and
a couple
things like
glasses
that.
of wine, let me tell you.
All my best ideas come out of glasses of wine. But the MVP3 offer, this is the first most critical offer that you make in any new market.
Yep.
So let's just say you already got $1 million business and you're gonna go into another business. You start with this offer because what you're trying to do and what the MVP3 stands for, it's your most valuable player offer, but it's minimal viable product. Forget and ditch the idea of creating the perfect course, building it all online, and then doing all that. And I made every handout and every little thing out there, and I tried to have everything figured out. That is the worst way to go. If you've ever studied Michael Masterson's Ready, Fire, Aim, this was the concept I learned from him there, where he's just like, no, as fast to market as you can, as minimal features as you can, just make sure it does two other things that we'll talk about in a second, because you want to get speed into the market and discover, will people pay for it? Before you go and build a ton of things and go out and spend a bunch of time, you want to verify that the way you're positioning the offer, people are going to pay for it. If you've got that, then you start working on tweaking it and making it better and optimizing it. But you're right now, your main goal, to start launching quickly to $1 million offer. How fast can you get that first minimal viable product out into the market and get proof that people want to pay for it?
That's right. And some people fear this because they're like, if it's not in a course or in a beautiful site that people can consume, then I'm fearful of putting the offer out there to tell people I can get them this transformation. But just remember, you're the expert. You have a process. You should have a process of transformation, right? And if you
not,
do,
that should be
and
another
if you
must
not, that's another must do. But most often you do. You're an expert. You know how to get somebody from where they are to where they want to go, create that transformation. And when you do, you should have the confidence in yourself to be able to coach someone through that process. Because in the beginning, that's what you're doing. You're testing your process out and you're getting paid for it. Right? And if you can do that and verify that that process worked, woo, baby, then you've got something special. You've proven it sells. You've proven it works.
Well, that's what leads you right up into the second part of the MVP.
Right.
So minimal viable product, as fast as you can. Get it out, get proof on it.
Boom.
But speed doesn't mean that it's not maximum value proposition.
It's your best.
People do not care about course modules, this, that. They don't care about any of that. They're actually, in a world where there's so much overwhelm and information overload, you want to actually do more with less. You want to simplify, which is why you like minimal viable product, but you still want to make sure maximum value proposition. So you're like, I'm clear on the dire problem that you have, and I'm clear on the big result or outcome that you want. Those are the two like end caps, if you will. And then you're like, great. If I could take you from living in back pain for 10 years and your marriage is on the effing rocks and you can't play with your kids because you can't have sex and you can't run around with the kids and you can't do this and that and your life is sucking balls and you're like, correct, you're not working and you're sliding back there and you're able to be like, hey, in 6 months, I can get you freaking living pain free. That's all they care about. They don't care, does it delivered on Kajabi? And does it have like beautiful handouts and low? They don't give a shit. They're just like, I want to know, what's the dream outcome? How fast can you get me there? What's the likelihood of my achieving it? And what's my effort and sacrifice that I got to make? If you can articulate that, you have maximum value proposition.
Yeah, and another way to think about that too is that think about in your industry, what is the biggest problem you can solve for people, right? And in fitness, I used to go after all the little things at first when I started my business. I was like, oh, I'll give them a meal plan or I'll give them this and that. I'm like, that's not the biggest problem they've got. It's not the meal plan. It's not the meal planning either. You have to think about in your industry, what is that big problem that you could solve that you haven't even thought about yet, because that's the maximum value that you can give to your audience. And if you can find that and then transform lives by creating that outcome and making it a reality, you've got that maximum value proposition for people. And if you can convey that out in the market, you're a winner.
Yep. If you don't know that, that's what you got to figure out right now.
Today.
And then last, maximum verified profit. A lot of people go out there and build offers and spend a ton of time, money, and effort making a $49 course is the first thing that they're doing. And I'm like, if you want to march towards $1 million business and make a million, your $49 will dink and dunk you to hell. You will be like, that's not it. Because number one reason, you guys have heard me say this before, that you will die in your business, be buried in your business, is you ran out of money and resources. So your offer, your first killer offer, needs to cash flow the business. It needs to make enough money for the business that you can invest in growth, you can invest in skills, you can invest in systems, you can literally invest in some lifestyle and growth for you and your family. Otherwise, that's when the spouse and other people around that you're trying to be like, I'm investing all this time and money and effort in building this business, and they're like, it's been 5 years and you're bringing in $20,000 a year. We can't keep doing this. Go get a job. And you get shoved back into that world as compared to, I made sure that when I priced my offer, I did it for maximum verified profit. How much can you charge and get away with? And back it by these two things.
That's right. Because if it's a high value and your client values that transformation so much, how much do they value it? Right? How much would they be willing to invest? And you have to actually convey, like, what's it worth not to do it? What's it going to cost you? What are the consequences that it's going to cost you? I mean, losing your marriage, not being able to work, all those things, not being able to spend time with your children because you're in pain. What is that worth to a person? That's where you can charge a premium for your transformation. This is just a great example because it is so important that you think about that maximum value you can give so that you can charge that maximum viable product.
That's it. So this is probably the most important. No, these are the first two, but this is the one that if you're not in this realm and you don't have the skills, strategies, and systems to do this, there's nothing else to do besides this.
That's it.
Get this going, then you build onto where we're going right now.
Yeah.
So let's assume you did the mapping out and the brainstorming and the work to figure out what's my MVP3 offer. Well, now you actually need to structure the offer.
And this is funny because I literally, when I got into business, I had absolutely zero idea of like what structure of an offer was. I'm like, what do you mean? I got a 3-month like fitness and high performance coaching program. Isn't that my offer? He's like, no. So this is really important because we talk to a lot of people who have an expertise and they have something they want to offer, but they don't truly have a structure.
What they'll structure the offer is like, I do 12 weeks of one-on-one coaching. I'm like,
That's
I don't
only
know what
piece.
The hell that does.
Right.
Number one, that's no MVP3 offer. Number two, I have no idea what niche or thing you're in there. Let alone, I'm like, I don't know anything truly about your offer, and nor do you when you're telling me that that's your offer. Instead, you got to be like, I start to understand the problem-solution framework of what I do. I solve this problem, I deliver this solution. I solve this problem, I deliver. And that is actually how you articulate the offer. When we're able to be like, hey, listen, in a year, if you want to go build your online business, you're like, yo, the first problem is you have no MVP3 offer. So we have to build and do that. Then we're like, at that point, you need to start being able to like double your revenue without new cost of acquisition. That's why you're going to go out there and need a back-end offer. You don't have one currently right now, so we have to work on that. So when somebody buys your first thing, they can buy your second thing and you make more money. After that, guess what? You don't have new leads coming in. That's a problem. Your business is going to dry out after organic and warm and all that starts to run its course. So you need lead generation systems that move people into that core MVP3 offer and then into that back-end offer. You do that, you have the makings of at least a $500,000 to $1 million brand in 3 moves. That's structuring your offer by sharing problem solutions.
That's right. And I think that also when you think about like your process of transformation, what it is that you do and what you deliver to your audience or to your client, it's important to really think that through when you're selling them your course because they don't care about all the knickknacks and all the little things. They're not you. They don't know the ins and outs of why everything in the course is important or in the coaching program is important. They care about what matters to them. What are the outcomes they care about? That's really what you want to highlight in that framework, is to say, like, what are the big hurdles they've got to overcome? What are those big struggles that they're facing? Because if you can talk about that as you're talking them through your process, then you're just telling them all the things they want to hear, and that's what you want, not all the things they don't know about or care about.
And you're doing what's called education-based marketing.
Yeah.
So the whole time,
middle.
even while you're selling, for those people that are worried about selling out there, you're educating and delivering value the whole way. We give our students literally like a deck of how to do this, so that they're like, oh, it's like training wheels for learning how to make offers based on helping your audience understand the problem, tell them why and what that is and why it exists, and then show them what they should be doing, and then move them into the offer stack. The offer stack, this is the deliverable stuff.
Yeah.
This is all the stuff that comes in it. But what a lot of people do with the offer stack is just throw shit in it to throw shit in it.
I know.
It's not about throw shit in it to throw stuff in it. It's about what am I putting in it, helping them overcome. Is it a tool? Is it a resource? Is it a training that helps solve this or accelerates it? Whatever the case might be, there's a lot of different ways to discuss that, but it's being able to, like, now, how do I build the offer stack to show that, hey, what I'm going to coach you in the next 3 months is worth $50,000 worth of your time, money, effort, struggle, frustration, overwhelm, etc. I'm going to cut that all down. And that's $50K of value, I'm going to give it to you for $5K. That's being able to make sure that your offer stack is matched to that maximum value proposition, that maximum verified profit that we talked about, and being able to articulate it succinctly.
That's right. And it's not a bunch of fluff either. You're not like blowing up numbers just to blow up numbers. Because if you think about how long it took you to know this stuff, how long it took you to develop these systems or to develop these strategies and the things and skills that you do have today, I think about all the money I invest, hundreds, thousands of dollars. We've invested millions in our business development. And so when we're saying we're going to give you a system that's worth $25K, that's because that's probably not even what it was worth. It was probably $50K.
Yeah.
And all of those things really need to add up in the face of your audience, because they need to understand if they do this on their own, it's going to cost them a whole lot more, and you're going to condense down that time and make it a little bit more succinct for them to get it right here.
That's it. I mean, like, this should not be price driven. It should be value driven.
Value.
And it's a skill to learn how to price your programs and to put the things in it that demonstrate that to your market. So if you don't have that, you got to get that. That's a must do out there.
It's huge.
Now, of course, within your offer, you got to decide on delivery, fulfillment. What am I doing? Is it one-on-one? Is it group? Is it a course? Is it a retreat? Is it an event? Is it a combination of all those things?
A lot of deliverables that you're going to be
access,
giving them.
support, all that stuff. You want to start getting that down, because that is part of what makes up an offer and helps make the buying decision for your customer.
And so many people just think that's the offer, right? Like it's 12 one-on-one coaching calls and 3 group calls, and it's the Facebook group access and all that. Yes, but that's just a piece of how you're delivering on the program. It's not the offer in total, right? So remember that these things are important.
It's an element of the offer. It's not the offer.
Just a deliverable.
That's it. And then obviously you want to learn how to start naming things, whether it's naming tools,
huge.
Naming trainings, creating bundles and things like that. Because in naming, you can create brand, you can create distinction. That's how you start to create IP, your intellectual property and things like that.
Yeah.
And just in naming, you can charge a premium. So just being able to be like, I learned how to call it, instead of coaching, I called it my like live pain free formula. People are like, versus the personal trainer, I'm gonna go work with the dude that created the live pain free formula.
Yeah.
That just sounds better. Mm-hmm. I don't even know what's in it yet, but I want the live pain free formula. Excellent. You gotta be like, how do I learn how to do this? How do I go out there and start putting this out into the world? Because just doing that, right back to that maximum verified profit that we talked about, you'll make more money.
That's right. A lot of people, they name based on trying to be clever, trying to be cute. And Vito and I always say, like, be clear over clever, be clear over cute, because people want to know what the outcome is. What am I getting? When we say we have an MVP3 offer maker, people know that they're going to build their MVP3 offer, and that is what we're going to help them get.
Okay, so let's talk number 4 of what you must do in order to create that $1 million offer, and it's called your levers. Find your levers. You know what I'm talking about? Levers where like
you
take a crowbar in and that thing that weighed 800 pounds that you can't lift up, but you use a lever and a fulcrum and you're able to lift it up faster.
Which is why we love the dolly, because around this house we got to pick up heavy things. We dolly it around.
Wine barrels and shit around here that we got to move. You need levers everywhere. But the levers that work for your offer to help it sell faster, sell for more, etc., are things like scarcity. Do you know how to work the supply and demand curve of what's happening in your market? That makes a difference when you're able to be like, hey, in my market right now, if I say I got 5 spots versus 10, I can sell out those 5 spots. And then people are like, whoa, man, this person's sold out. And I'm on a wait list now. So when you start to make offers more consistently, they start to react sooner because they keep seeing sold out, sold out, sold out. That scarcity allows you to sell out your programs, and it also allows you to start testing your pricing to find the max threshold of how much you can charge at maximum verified profit for how many people to hit your revenue and your income goals.
That's huge. I mean, alone, you gotta create scarcity in your offers. And you can do that in multiple ways, you know, like you can do it in the numbers game. There's other ways to do it too. You can be deadlines, right? Like you can, actually, that's next. Urgency, sorry.
Urgency. But go ahead, hit urgency. Urgency is important.
Yes, creating urgency so that people don't just take forever to make a decision. You know that they will.
Nobody makes decisions.
You give people like time to make a decision and they will take that time. But if you create deadlines and you create that scarcity and you make it so that, you know, it is going to close, cart closed, no more entries, that's when people are going to make a quick decision and get on board.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, nobody buys without deadlines anymore. It's very, very difficult.
Right.
Which is why when you
Evergreen
often
sales
see in these sales campaigns, you see a lot of reminders, last calls, this and that. And some people are like, God, that's annoying. And like, that wasn't meant for you. It was meant for the person that needed to hear that many reminders because they're busy in their life and they're trying to be like, oh shit, that's right. I was supposed to go back and get that program for myself.
Right.
If you don't have that going, you're just going to miss out on sales and building up to the revenue that you want. So you want to know how to deploy this stuff inside your offer.
Vito has the best story for this when you were in product launch formula and you made those last 4 or 5 emails that you didn't know you were supposed to send out that create that deadline and reminders for people. There's like 4 different emails that go out the last day.
So when I was first learning product launch formula, I had invested, what was it, freaking
$24K or something like that.
$25,000 some odd dollars to be in this mastermind.
We had just started dating, by the way.
It was like 15. I don't remember what the number was, but I was remembering like I'm doing the launch, I'm following everything that the system says, and in the first day of sales, I sold like 1, second day like 1, and I had like $20,000 I got to go pay off on this freaking mastermind, and it was sitting on an Amex. So you're like, I only got the 45 days to get this thing going. But somebody was just like, when I was telling them, I'm like, you realize I'm only made about $2,000 on this launch, and I have about $20,000 in credit card I got to go back. I am about to start selling my body to the night. I will pimp this shit out because I got to figure this out. And they're like, hey, before you become a male escort, here's our suggestion for you.
Create urgency.
They're like, did you do this? Did you put in all the reminder emails? Did you do this and that? And I'm like, no, I don't even know what those are. And they're just like, oh God, all sales happened in the last 48 hours. Now it's even more than 24 hours.
48 hours. Can you believe that?
They're like, oh, set these reminders, do this thing, etc. I go and do all that, and I was leaving for New York to go on a Christmas trip or whatnot, and they're like, set those reminders, take off for your vacation, things are probably going to be all right. And I remember landing in New York, it's got to be like 11 o'clock at night, and I'm on the tarmac waiting, because it was the last cart emails went out, and I'm waiting for my phone to like load, and I'm just like waiting, and all of a sudden the phone starts to load, and I start seeing the emails like cha-ching, 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 cha-ching. All these sales came in where I probably did about 25K in that last day.
Yep.
And I like jump up and I'm in the last seat in the window, so I'm right underneath the freaking like where your luggage goes. I basically jam my whole neck down. The entire plane is laughing and I'm just like, it's all right. I don't have to sell this body to the night anymore. But I was like, to the streets and to the parties. And I went out on New York and ripped it because I learned urgency is a lever.
That's right.
Urgency is a lever.
It's a huge lever, and so many people fear these things because they think they're going to be annoying or that it's going to be, something that people dislike and they're going to unsubscribe. Let them. It's okay if people unsubscribe from your list because if you're putting out an offer, exactly. So remember, this is super important to create these deadlines.
What ways can you create bonuses inside your offer?
Huge.
Right now I'm working with a couple clients that she was selling like a 2K high performance coaching program and whatnot, and I'm like, hey, and she actually just bought a place with a partner in Costa Rica, and I'm like, yo, you want to bonus a 2-day retreat in Costa Rica type thing as a part of your bonus for the pay in full people that do that, and let's take this up to a $10,000 offer. And she's just like, oh yeah, that sounds way more exciting. And I'm like, lever of just also like, we didn't even put like experience on here. But I was like, make the bonus, the experience, take the price up, set scarcity. If only 5 people can do that event, sell 5 of those, you did $50K instead of having to sell how many at the 2K level.
That's right.
These are levers in your businesses, and then your confidence to put guarantees in your program and knowing what kind of guarantee should I put in, what ways can I kind of like skin the cat of a guarantee type thing, and the good old American tradition of cat skinning. You want to know how to go out and skin the cat of a guarantee. Is it like a money back? Is it total? I once heard Eddie Vedder say that, and it stuck with me forever.
Good old American tradition.
Because it's such a fucked up thing. What do you mean?
Skin the cat. However you want to skin the cat.
But what guarantees are you going to put in? Oftentimes with our coaching clients, I'm like, yo, if you want to put some teeth in it, you'll put a guarantee that like, listen, you're going to get the result, or I'll keep working with you for free until you do, or I'll go give you enough money to go get another person's program and see if that can do better. Now you're putting teeth into a guarantee instead of just your 30-day money-back guarantee.
That's right.
What ways can you get creative that it pushes people over the edge enough for you to just get the numbers slightly different so that another 3% close, 5% close, 10% close starts marching you towards the $1 million that you want in the business?
If people feel like there's no risk for them to do the program, to get the thing, there's only the benefit and the outcome of that transformation, you're going to have buyers.
Yeah, the only thing that stops people with guarantees is they worry.
This risk, I'll lose my money, or I won't get the thing.
It's an imagined
risk fear
that you should have been able to overcome when you knew how to build your program the right way and how to build your offer the right way.
That's right. And if you did build it the right way and you know your process and you know it delivers results, you should have no problem with giving a guarantee that takes away the risk from the buyer.
Cool. Let's look at the last piece that you need to do. Okay, the 5th must-do is you need a predictable marketing and sales system. Now, if you love unpredictable revenue, unpredictable income. I have no idea how I'm going to feed the family or how I'm going to afford the pool or build the vineyard and whatnot. I'm like,
no.
I love that. No. You want, and that's where unfortunately most business owners live.
Especially when they get started.
They have no predictable way. And that's being able to be like, I don't know how my messaging should be out there to attract that 4%, that 20%, so that I can get good, qualified, pre-framed people, the right people that have the money, et cetera. So if you're like, I don't know how to put my messaging out there, you're going to struggle to get any offer off the ground. If you don't know like what we call your pitch positions. Positioning is your ability to articulate to your market why you, why your thing, why your way over another person, another thing, in another way. If you're like, I don't know how to articulate, you shouldn't be going down this path because it's incomplete or it's slow or it's bullshit or it's a myth. It's what, because there's a lot of all the wrong reasons and all the wrong people have products and programs and things out there. Your ability to be like, no, we have to position like, listen, when you're going out to build an online business, you could follow the person that tells you to go out and launch with low ticket and get the safety little sales out there. And I'm like, awesome. As long as you're like, I only want to make $2,000, $3,000, $5,000 a month. But if you're like, I'm trying to build quick to $1 million business, that's the wrong way to go. You would do that later on in the business. Early on in the business, you're going to launch that MVP3 offer, cash flow the business, get investment money coming in. Then later on, create your leveraged offer suite, at which point you take and start making the littler products because you have a place to move those people to. That's a pitch position. teaching you to understand that is my ability to position to you and pitch to you why our way versus another way. Does that make sense? You have to be able to do that with your product and your program, or your offer, I should say.
This is huge. I mean, a lot of people are missing this in their everyday content, right? They're not talking about what makes them better than their competition, why going for that quick fix isn't the right idea, and why your system is better or your process is better. If you can do that in all your messaging and content creation in certain ways, then you can be poking fun at certain things and drawing a line in the sand that says, like, you're either over there or you're freaking getting results over here. That's when you know that you're going to have leverage in the market and that you're going to get the right audience into your programs.
Yeah, because if you're naive enough to think that people aren't shopping other solutions,
right,
then you're not aware of what's happening in the market.
They're shopping
you're delusional of what's happening
everywhere
out
for the
there.
solution.
They're shopping because they have a problem, right? They got a big problem that they want solved.
That's right.
So they're out there shopping for a solution, and they need
Goops,
to understand
how do I?
Why you. If you don't have that, you're going to always struggle to sell anything that you go out there. Then you won't hit your income goals and your revenue goals, and you don't live the life that you want. So you got to learn, how do I know how to start making my pitch positions for my offer consistently? Mm-hmm. Do you have things like, I have a sales call funnel?
Yeah, these are
so
examples.
From my messaging and my positioning and my content, etc., it goes into a lead generation system that then delivers some more value and gets them to show up on a call, and they've had an application, so I make sure I'm only talking to qualified people, etc.
And the reason we say sales call funnel here, to put that in your ear, is because if you're creating $1 million offer and it's more of a high value, high profit for your business, you're going to have to probably talk to people, right? Because you want to walk them through that offer. You want to walk them through what they're going to be getting. You want to teach them, educate them, like Vito said, so that they truly know what they're getting, because that's how you're going to close more sales. Automation in sales isn't going to come quickly with $1 million offer like that.
But also, if you're selling anything, typically at least 5,000 and up. But it's really kind of like now 2,000 and up. Barring you are a major guru, like
already
you're Tony Robbins
audience,
or something like that, you can put this out without that way.
Right.
But even those guys, when they're selling their high ticket stuff, 5,000, 10,000, 20, 25, it drives to a sales call where a salesperson is closing the offer and making the deal. So if you're going to be in this game of I'm launching high ticket, high value offers like this, you're going to have to have a system and a model for getting people onto sales calls, whether it's you or whether it's with a salesperson, doesn't matter right now. We talked lead generation. You better have a system for getting you the right leads into and going there. And then how do you actually monetize those leads so that you're recouping your ad spend? If you don't have that, you bleed out in the lead generation game.
Yeah.
And then do you have your media and your content out there so a person can see
you're not living and dying on social media.
Who you are.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, but I mean, like, correct, you've got that, but I mean, like, they can see you are an expert in the space.
You're putting your authority out there in the market.
Authority, and you have your credibility out there. I mean, to launch $1 million offer, I'm going to assume that you have some credibility already in the market, and you're just like, how the hell do I launch $1 million fast and whatnot? But otherwise, you have to be like some of our clients that might be like, I'm just getting my media going. So how do I do it strategically so I can get the first sales in to grow the business and understand that it's not going to be a year to $1 million. It might be 4 years. Because you're like, I launched the business in the first year and I made 70K, 90K, 100K. In the second year, I did 250. The third year, I did 500. And you build up. You build up. But you can hope and wish and dream for $1 million this year, or you can get to work and do it. And in 4 or 5 years from now, you have the $1 million business. Yep. But now you have $1 million business running every year. Or you could stay like people that are afraid to go do this work we talked about. And they work for a company for $60,000 for 30 years and live with a life of regret and small gains in life. This is designed for people that are like...
That's a pitch position, by the way.
I mean, that's right.
Right? That's like, right. Why do this over sticking with the JOB, where you know you're putting your heart and soul into that as well, and you're working for years and years doing that, then when you're done, you're done.
Yeah. I mean, people will go to school for a PhD or a master's and spend $70,000, $80,000, $90,000 for that to go get a job for $55,000, $70,000, $100,000. And I'm like, it's going to take you a long ass motherfucking time to get that money back, let alone that thing. But you thought that was the safe route? But what if you'd done 5 years to learn to build your own business, and now you can generate $1 million a year from your own home? Learning to have the write-offs and the tax advantages
into
and things.
retirement even.
And you're like, I've learned to then build that one business, and then I built the next business and the next. Now you're running a badass empire. That's the freedom lifestyle that we often talk about to our students. That's your ability to create your legacy and leave this work behind as well. So we understand that these are challenging thoughts, but these are the thoughts for people that are like,
hungry.
I got a difference I want to make out there, and I want to live right now in this world and create
my difference, but live the life I want. Because so many of us, we learn and we grow and we gain an expertise and we want to make a difference. Yet so many people are doing that and losing their own life in the meantime. They're missing years with their children and their families. They're not able to be present. And that's
nickel and dime your future.
Yeah.
And you're staying in an archaic model of the job world and small incremental gains. And it's not the small incremental gain, but not when they're not in your control. If you're making small incremental changes and they're in your control, you have the ability to ratchet up or not. But when you're like, somebody else is writing my ticket and somebody else is dictating my future, that's lack of freedom in life. And that creates stress in our lives. That creates anxiety. That creates feeling oppression. And anytime you've seen that in the world, people revolt against that. This is a revolt against not having the freedom in your life. This is the opportunity for you to step into more freedom in your life.
That's right. And once you have this MVP3 offer and this $1 million offer is in your hands, then you can leverage, then you can scale, then you can do so many other things. But we're saying like, this is where it begins. You want to start with that $1 million offer and take off from there.
Yeah. So if you want help making that MVP3 offer, down below on this is the link that can let you check out that program so that you can be like, how am I going to get this done in the next 90 days? How am I going to finally get my $1 million offer created, mapped out, ready to go, so that once I got it, I can get into launch and I can get out and start taking my business to the next level.
We're going to walk you through the steps that we talked about here today.
That's it.
Nailing it, getting that offer built.
The whole thing, and you'll see all the details as far as how much coaching, what it comes with, how we do it, etc.
We have a structure
The whole
for you.
structure of the offer is on that page. So make sure you check out that button down below, and we'll see you inside.